Hey squad, Jakus here, and if there's anything I love not doing more than taxes, it's completing games. Yes, that's right. Today I'll be talking about the one thing scarier to gamers than showering and interacting with women, the backlog. Sometimes you own a game and you just don't have the time or energy to play it, and sometimes that same case applies to about 300 games. All gamers have one. They're an inevitability, a natural result of the curse of having disposable income. So, how does a backlog happen? Firstly, just a simple lack of time. People lead lives, they have stuff to do, social lives to live, taxes to evade. They don't necessarily have time to sink 26 hours into Sonic Frontiers. There's also the impulse purchases that result from seeing a game at a really good price, so you buy it without any intent to actually play it. I own Saints Row 4 on Nintendo Switch. Am I ever gonna play it? Hell no! But it was $2 on the eShop, so I got it anyway. Not to mention, there's the fine art of game collecting. If you're a video game collector, there's two things that you're never going to do: have sex and play half the games in your collection. I gave myself a week to try and take a crack at some of the games in my backlog. 7 days, 7 games. Will I finally try them all? What will I think? Will I ever see the sun again? I can answer the last question already. No I won't. Starting off the great week of virginity with Nintendo Switch Sports, the long-awaited follow-up to the absolute icons that are Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort. What's a Wii Sports Club? Nintendo Switch Sports was a swing and a miss, ultimately missing the mark and failing to live up to the high expectations set by Wii Sports. On the positive side, it makes good use of the Switch's motion control capabilities to replicate the physically engaging experience that made Wii Sports just so addicting. But the sensor technology is weak and results in inconsistent detection and frustration caused by unresponsive controls. The motion controls are also forced, and you can't play with a Pro controller, which is fine, that's kind of the point, but it would have been nice to have the option to not use a controller that wants to do its own thing all the time. On the surface level, this game seems like the worthy successor to Wii Sports, but it unfortunately ended up being just such a letdown with a little depth and memorability when compared to its predecessors. It just doesn't hold up as well in the current gaming landscape as Wii Sports did back in 2006, and the attempts to recapture that magic fell flat. Now, is it an inherently bad game? No, of course not. It's still a quality experience. I just found myself not really wanting to come back to this one with the lack of substantial updates, no online leaderboards or ranking to come back. So I guess that's why I ended up in the backlog. Day 2 is all about Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered. Yeah, I don't own the console with no games, so instead I'm playing the PC release that I don't really own. And, well, the game is absolutely fantastic. The game does something once thought impossible. It makes New York enjoyable. The city becomes a playground to swing through, and I love it. The world is huge but not empty. It's full of life and things to do, and it's just so enjoyable to play in. The movement and fighting are fluid and fun, and it just makes the whole game such a joy to play. I only wish there was a little more oomph after swinging. Strangely, the most fun Spider-Man swinging I've personally felt is in Fortnite Battle Royale. Bet you didn't expect to hear that game here. I also feel some of the missions drag on a bit too long, but overall the game is just super fun. This one was in my backlog purely because it's a really big game, and I still have taxes not to do, I just don't have the time to invest. Day 3 switches are up completely with the Nintendo Switch release of Puyo Puyo Tetris 2. I love Puyo Puyo, I love Tetris, so this combo was made for me, and I picked it up for only about $15 in the shop. Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 is a wonderful puzzle game that beautifully brings together two different game formats and marries them in a beautiful way, where there's no true weighting to either side. If you like Tetris, play Tetris. If you like true gamer classic Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, play Puyo Puyo. I had a delightful time with this game, and it's really affordable, so I couldn't recommend it more. Mario Party has slim pickings on Nintendo Switch. There was Super Mario Party, a game so bland I genuinely can't think of a funny quip for it, and now Mario Party Superstars, the focus of Day 4. Mario Party Superstars is a celebration of the first 10 games in the series. That's right, even Nintendo forgot about Super Mario Party. Superstars brings the nostalgia factor big time, remaking some fan favourite boards from the N64 titles along with 100 minigames from across the series. For the most part, these remakes are faithful and only improve on the source material, although there are a few duds here. I have to admit, I was a little disappointed by the lack of representation for my personal favourite entry, Mario Party 8, with only 2 minigames, but I can let it slide considering I'm one of about 4 people who actually enjoy that game. Superstars is certainly an improvement over Super Mario Party, with many of the main issues with that game being fixed here. The pacing is better, the boards are actually interesting, and there is online multiplayer on launch instead of in a random update 3 years later. The strange choice of minigames and the absence of updates or DLC have certainly detracted from the experience in the public eye, and I'll admit that I lost interest in this game pretty fast too, so a reason to come back would have been appreciated, but I think the game is a quality experience as it is. Superstars is certainly the better of the 2 Switch outings, and I did really have a good time with it. Its place in my backlog really only being the result of a lack of interest in Mario Party right now. I mean, do I look like someone with friends to you? Well, then again, the river raft mode isn't back in this game, so I think I'm gonna go burn my copy. I have a confession to make. I don't care for Pokémon. Okay, put the pitchforks down. Pokémon is just one of those series that you have to play as a kid to love, and I never really played it. I played some of Pokémon Moon on the 3DS, and I had a good time with the mobile app, but it was never really my thing. Still, Pokémon Let's Go Pikachu looked like a fun time for beginners, so I figured, hey, why not? It could be a fun time, right? And, well, it was. Kinda. Okay, the thing that got me is the forced use of the Joy-Cons. Nintendo Switch Sports suffered from this too, and it's just annoying when I want to play in handheld mode and I have to set up the screen somewhere. The gameplay itself is, well, it's Pokemon. There's not really much to say. You catch rodents and make them fight. It's a solid gameplay loop, just not one that I could ever get that invested in. Still, Let's Go Pikachu is a charming little game that I can absolutely see people having a good time with, particularly if they enjoy the gameplay, but don't know where to start with the series. It's just not for me. Crash Bandicoot is a series that I only got into in recent years with the Insane Trilogy and Crash Team Racing, but it's honestly super fun. I mean, don't get me wrong, I am absolutely terrible at these games. I was brought up on the new Super Mario Bros. Series, which is about as challenging as eating a bowl of cereal, but that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy these games. When I finally got around to diving into Crash 4 on day 6, I had an absolute blast of a time, and it easily became my favourite Crash game. The new art style may be controversial to some, but personally I absolutely love it. All of the colours just pop that little bit more, and the style is really unique. The actual gameplay was even more tough than your average Crash, to the point that I didn't even get close to finishing the game by the end of day 6, but that never made me want to put the game down. It's just one of those games that's just so challenging that it makes you want to play more. For Crash fans, and for platformer fans that just want a bit of a challenge, I really could not recommend this game more. Rounding out my week of virginity with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And do I even need to tell you this game is a masterpiece? It was only even in my backlog as it released right in the middle of the most important exam season of my life thus far. I've been wanting to get around to this one for so long. Breath of the Wild is already one of the greatest video games I've ever played, and Tears of the Kingdom is just Breath of the Wild, but more. I would say more about the game, but there's still so much for me to explore and do. One day is just not nearly enough. I just want to dive back in and play more right now. In fact, I'm gonna do just that. And so ends the week of playing through my backlog. What did I learn? That there are just so many good video games out there. And some mediocre games too, that are waiting to be uncovered. So when you see the latest Steam summer sale is offering 12% off a game you probably won't play but has a shiny logo, just take a look through the games you already own and give them some love first. Or, you know, go out and talk to people and have sex. But we all know none of us are going to be doing that.